Heather, these look good. I don't think you have to do any more to complete assignment 2. Um, I'm liking these ones on the right half, probably the one on the top. And the image is looking a little bit like this shadow thrown from a crystal that I've pictured on the side, a small picture there. So you could probably get going on your assignment 3. It will be a good idea for everybody to post a draft with that. Julia, I find myself favoring your designs here on the left, the top and bottom one. The bottom one is very intricate, and it even sort of suggests language or pictograms. It reminds me of a Mayan codex a little bit. The Mayans were um, early users of book format, and here's a picture on the right from a Mayan codex. Um, with that bottom left image, it seems as though at extreme right and left, the image is getting cropped. There's like a multiplication sign and then the greater and less than sign, if you will, the symbols there. They seem a little cut off. It would be better, I think, if the design were square or if they fit into the format like the similar shapes at top and bottom. Looking at the top image, I really like the transparency seen there. This seems like a less intricate design, but is quite possibly a winner. I like the way that the circle shapes are kind of grouped together, bunched and cropped slightly. Keely, I'm agreeing with you. This bottom right one is probably your best solution. I like to see you using the dark backdrop. I wonder whether the chandelier could better fill the format, or maybe the format could be more narrow. I like the suggestion of the dark chain, and I feel as though with a chandelier, you might need fewer baubles and more armature. And I've pictured one here, just an image I found on the web. Notice that it also includes candles. I don't know if that's something you're interested in. Catherine, this is a lovely example, the bottom right one. I think it may be your strongest, but it needs a little bit of work in terms of persuading the viewer that these dangling shapes are all in the same space and affected by gravity. So I encourage you to take a look at the perspective and examine how you can use a vanishing point to help get the idea across, the idea that these are all being pulled downward and they're all in one space. You may like to look at 2-point perspective as is seen here in the diagram, or take a look at 1-point perspective. You'll see a variety of tutorials online if you do a search. Hello, Rochelle. We've taken a look at these images before. I like the top ones, and I think you do too. I'm looking at this top left one that resembles both a sort of French curve, that you'd use for drawing and designing, and also an octopus. I like the way that it's suggestive of a theme, yet it's not specifically representational. I like the way that the circle shape there could be a sort of eye for the octopus. And then I wonder about those floating shapes and whether they could be better integrated, whether some of them might be overlapped by that central larger shape. I think this one offers promise. You might like to consider letting the backdrop be in a regular shape, that is, not a rectangle, or some shape other than a rectangle sitting on a white shape. Jamie, you've got a lot of good ideas going here with regard to a street scene and you there in Denver, nighttime. I think the street views would be helped a great deal by some use of linear perspective. In this case, 1-point perspective would too. If you haven't yet had a perspective course, you can find a number of tutorials online and probably at the Drawing Learning Center too if you happen to be attached to that. With regard to the silhouette, I'm quite sure you haven't created this yourself. It has a clip art feel, and it's the only thing in the compositions that isn't regularly geometric. Do you see what I'm saying? I mean, it's not a square, it's not a triangle. So I would encourage you to find more shapes like this, and moreover, I'd like to see you draw with a pen tool or possibly with a polygonal lasso a silhouette of your own. Well, hi, Czar. There are a couple of art history examples that came to mind when I took a look at your image. There's a sleeping woman by Picasso and another image of a sleeping woman with a guitar by Henri Rousseau there in the moonlight. Um, one thing about the small circles here is they're suggesting maybe a bubbliness like in carbonated drinks, and I wonder if that's what you're really looking for. I like the fact that you've been drawing this, and I encourage you to work at high resolution. And please keep in mind that for a draft, you're welcome to submit one thumbnail, but all in all, you'll need to have 4.